Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Honestly Hannah, a podcast hosted by me, Hannah Coda, where I share all my honest opinions about all things going on in the world. I'm treating this podcast like a diary, and trust me, I have a lot to say. Welcome back to this week's episode. I have to apologize, obviously, for starting out by not posting last week. I had a full episode ready to go, but there were some technical difficulties that I just couldn't get over, and honestly Monday came and I was like, I just don't think I should post this or try to figure out how to fix this. And there were also some other factors, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna start fresh next week and just move forward from there. It was the first time I ever took a break, which was honestly kind of weird. I don't know, wasn't really expecting to take a break, and so it felt like something was missing my whole week, because usually I'll post on Instagram about my episodes, and I don't know, it felt a little off all week. So I do want to come on and say that I apologize for not posting last week, and honestly I'm probably gonna have to apologize again, because this week I wanted to come on and I had a full episode ready to talk about serial killers. I know it might have been a little random, but I've actually decided as of a couple minutes ago that I want to completely change this week's topic to talk about the Oscars, because I was waiting to film this episode until I had finished watching the Oscars, so I could be relevant and talk about relevant things, especially because I know I like to talk about award shows and movies and TV and, well, just movies for this one. So I wanted to wait, but then I saw the Oscars in real time, and I just feel like I have to do a deep dive into this, because I'm upset, and I don't know. I feel like these award shows, sometimes there's always some type of uproar, or there's some disappointment, or someone you really wanted to win doesn't win, and that happens, and that's cool or whatever. But this year's Oscars just seemed off with their choices of who won the Academy Awards, and then also just the whole award show in general. And this marks the end of award show season. So normally award show season starts around November-ish and then ends late February, early March, and that's what they call award show season, because it's the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Guild Awards, Critics' Choice Awards, the major ones for TV and film, as well as the Grammys. The Grammys happen, and I think the American Music Awards are usually in November, so that's why I say kind of November-ish, and then it kind of ends. But, because of COVID and the pandemic, they decided to put the Oscars a little bit later. I honestly thought it was because they were waiting to see if they could let go of some regulations, which they did, and they explained at the beginning, which is why they weren't wearing masks, because they were either tested multiple times or they were fully vaccinated, everyone on set. And I guess maybe we should just talk a little bit about, from the beginning of the show and what I have, what's wrong with it for me. Before I get into that, I do want to say that next week I am going to be talking about serial killers and my obsession with serial killer TV shows, because a couple weeks ago it was, okay, I don't watch normal TV normally, but I was watching normal TV, and I turned to the Oxygen channel, which when I did watch normal TV in my childhood, that was a normal channel I would go to watch with my grandma or my mom or whatever. And so I was flipping through the channels, and I saw this title of something about a serial killer that I had known, and then on Oxygen they had a week of serial killers, or a week of murder or something like that, murder mysteries, and it just intrigued me. And then I ended up watching Oxygen the entire week, because they had specials on certain serial killers. And then it kind of just hit me that I am obsessed with all murder type mystery shows, like Criminal Minds, Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Criminal Intent, all the NCISs, CSI. Like, I have seen them all. I literally sometimes watch Criminal Minds to go to bed. So this is promo for next week. If you want to listen to an episode where I just rant about fake serial killers and real serial killers and my thoughts behind it all, please tune in next week. However, this episode is going to be about the Oscars and film buff things, and also just like some pop culture things that I think they could have done better and I was really confused about. So if you want to hear more about the Oscars, please continue listening. I am going to jump in starting from the very beginning. Okay, so let's get started. I should probably state for the record that I love award shows. Whether I have seen all of the content or heard all the content or whatever, there's just something about award shows that I've just always really loved. And I think it's like well, not even really that. I just like seeing celebrities all in the same place, like interacting, but also like getting the recognition if I think that they did a good job. Like, I don't know, there's just something so glamorous about award shows, specifically the Oscars, right? I feel like the Oscars are like the creme de la creme. Like, it is the like top event and like high profile event, because like actors from way back when come out of like the woodworks. Like, it, you know, that happened this Oscars as well. But, and usually no matter really how the night goes in terms of nominees and winners, it's still very glamorous. It seems very put together, even if it's like not. And maybe it's because they do it in the Dolby Theater, which seems really like, you know, just old Hollywood and like very just extravagant, right? Well, they didn't do that this year, at least not fully. So, you know, the Oscars have a contract with the Dolby Theater. So half of the people were in the Dolby Theater just like chilling in the seats. And then the other half of people were at Union Station. So I guess that's where I'm going to start. From the very beginning, we get Regina King walking in from the red carpet that looks like to be right outside Union Station, walking into Union Station, and then finally getting to the stage. And it takes her like about 2 to 3 minutes. And I know that doesn't really sound like a lot of time, but it is. Like, that is a lot of time to be walking in a like $100,000 dress that if she moves one little inch out of, she will probably break or whatever. Or it will like come apart, or she will come apart. I don't know. So it starts off there. And when they announced that it was going to be at Union Station, I'm like, okay, for anyone that's been to Union Station, it is literally like smack dab in the middle of downtown LA, or like it's in downtown LA. And it is not the most glamorous place, but it is definitely like rich in history. Everybody's been to Union Station. I feel like even if, you know, you're not from LA, like at one point you've passed it, you know where it is, you've come in from a train or a bus or whatever, like Union Station is the hub. And yeah, I guess it kind of looks good, but I just would have never picked Union Station to be a location. And maybe there's a backstory on it, but I couldn't really find anything anywhere of why they picked Union Station. And it was random, because I don't know if any of you all could hear, but from the very beginning, you can hear the trains in the background, so very slightly, but it annoyed some people in my household, and I'll let you know that. Because you can't just stop all operations at one of the most major like transportation sites in Southern California. And so of course there were still buses and trains and stuff like in the works, and they just kind of like sectioned off one part of Union Station. So like that was annoying, and I feel like that threw off the sound of the show the entire time, instead of being in a theater where the acoustics are obviously made for that. So that was annoying. So I think the location, I you know, pat on the back for trying something different and trying a new location. And I think they had to do 2 locations or multiple locations due to, you know, regulations and social distancing and all of that stuff. So whatever. But like also, out of all places in LA, or God, even in the world, because they had some people in, the UK and Ireland and Italy and France. Like, out of all places in the world, you chose Union Station. But okay, whatever. So we have Regina King coming in. She looks out of breath, and obviously not because I think that she's like out of shape, but it's very nerve-wracking walking for 2 to 3 minutes on live television through Union Station up onto a grand stage in front of all of your peers. So she gets to the stage and kind of takes a breath, this is what I don't understand about award shows. Like, I thought we kind of banned that kind of stuff. Like, it's not pretty. It's kind of confusing. I was confused as, like, is she the host? And that was another thing. There's no host. And I know award shows are starting to, like, move away from, like, not having hosts because so many hosts in the past have been so controversial that they don't want to have a host and blah, 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 blah. But I was just confused because they set it up as if, like, Regina King was about to host the whole show. At least that's what I have in my mind. So she gets on stage, she starts talking. Obviously, I don't really remember much of what she said. I know she, ended up giving out some awards. And this is kind of the format the entire night. They pick a big name actor or actress to come up and kind of say a couple words, which was also, I feel like, different this year. And I get it. I get what they were trying to do. However, I did not appreciate it as a viewer, and I'm someone who loves movies and who loves to know the background story about these actors and actresses and, editors and directors and producers and all of this stuff. However, if you watched the Oscars, you know what I'm talking about. What they ended up doing was giving like a little, like, it was almost like an icebreaker fact, like, oh yeah, like... This person started as an usher at the Dolby Theater, used to serve your popcorn, and now he's nominated for Best Sound and nominated for an Oscar himself. And it's like, that's great. I think that's amazing. But do I need to know this piece of information right now on live television when I'm already dedicating 3 to 4 hours of my life watching this? Not necessarily. Like, if I think that they did a good job or whatever, I'm going to look it up myself. I just thought it was extremely long and extremely taxing to the viewer. And then another thing this year, which they tried differently, is they didn't cut anyone off when they gave a speech. And when I mean they didn't cut anyone off, they did not cut anyone off. So there were people up there awkwardly talking for minutes. People I didn't know, people, no offense, that I don't really care to hear talk for very long, and maybe I'm just being bratty, I don't know, but it just made it a little boring, a little much. And I get it, they want to think and thank the right people and make sure that they're thanking everyone, and this is their 15 seconds of fame. But that's the thing, it needed to be 15 seconds and not 5 minutes. It was just out of control. Like, I don't think I would like anything like that to ever happen again. I didn't really appreciate them cutting off people before, but now I understand why they did. Another thing that was different, there was no musical performances. So normally in the Oscars, to kind of like vibe it up, they ask the people nominated for original song to perform throughout the show. They also usually do like a background type of trailer moment for each of the Best Picture nominees. They didn't do that. It was different, and I could tell that they were trying to do something different, again, from the very second that they started. Usually at any award show, they have a camera facing straight at the person speaking, and is this if you're watching them yourself, you're someone in the audience and you're watching them. They didn't do that. It was side cameras and people following. I don't know, it was a little too much for me. At one point I got a little dizzy, I got a little nauseous, because they were just, the camera angles were kind of weird. They were literally following people as if it was kind of vlogging, if that makes any sense. That's the best thing I can compare it to. And yeah, dude, it was just not the format I was really ecstatic about, or I really just accepted. Like, for instance, like the Grammys this year, they did something different, right? They did a lot of pre-recording, which I think the Oscars did too, but you could totally tell what was pre-recorded. With the Grammys, I feel like you couldn't really tell what was pre-recorded. Also with the Grammys, you know, it wasn't like this huge crowd. It was only people who were nominated at that time. And it felt very, very small, but also just as grand. So I'm like, I don't know. The Grammys did something different and I think it worked. And then the Academy Awards or the Oscars tried to do something different. And I don't feel like it worked, from the venue to the way that they set everything up. Also, like, there was just like, you could tell which actor or actress had a relationship with the actor or actress that they were introducing, or like the person they were introducing. Like Laura Dern was introducing best supporting actor in a motion picture, and it ended up being I believe his name is Daniel from Judas and the Black Messiah. And when she was like, you know, naming out the nominees, she specifically like looks to him and says like this off script piece about like how much she loved him in that film. And it's like, I get it, but like, and then he ended up winning. So it was just kind of like, okay, like, did we all know this before? And I feel like it was like that for a couple of people, like that they had personal relationships with. They started saying a couple facts like about them that weren't like originally in the script. So yeah. And then what I think was the weirdest / greatest part of the whole thing, I don't know, was like close to the end. It was like, I think before they gave out the Best Picture award, Questlove brought out a friend, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but obviously I've seen him everywhere because he's hilarious and he's been in a couple things. But he brings out this like usher type person, or like, you know, MC, and they're going to play a game on live television right before they give out the biggest award of the night. But okay, whatever. They didn't do anything like this like the rest of the show. There was no like big comedic relief, and this was it, like right before the end. I don't know, it seemed really, 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 really random. Maybe they were doing this throughout the show. Like, I know I've been to tapings before where they do this throughout the show. Like, there's like some type of like MC type person who's like running the show when it's not filming, and you hear them over the microphone and they're trying to make light, like they're trying to make people laugh. So when they come back to live television, everybody's smiling and, you know, oh, so there's always like this type of person. So I thought maybe they were just recording like one segment of like them doing that when the cameras are not rolling, and now they're rolling and they want to show the audience, like the audience, like me, what they've been doing when it wasn't rolling, you know? But no, it definitely seemed like it was random. It looks like the audience was not ready for it. It didn't seem like it wasn't fluid. I don't know, it just seemed random. So anyways, they do this little segment, and then the MC type guy, again, forgetting his name, he goes up to Andrea Day, and I think it's Andrea, who was nominated for Best Actress in a leading role in a motion picture, which I ended up seeing that movie. She was Billie Holiday in Billie Holiday versus the United States, and they play this Prince song, and she quickly makes a very correct but like smirky, sarcastic type comment where there was, you know, profanity involved, and like, I don't know, it was just real awkward. Obviously she was correct. I agree with what she was saying, but she says this, you know, this is comment that like Purple Rain by Prince was not nominated, nor did it win an Oscar, even though it should have been. And that the Oscars should have recognized that, and they never do. So they go on to the next person, which again, Daniel from Judas and the Black Messiah, and he's like trying to play along with him, you know, and trying to have like this like back and forth banter that's going to be good for television. And then all of a sudden they go to Glenn Close, and it just is like, wait, is this staged? But honestly, the way that everyone was reacting, I don't think it was staged. I know that they let them know kind of ahead of time, like, hey, by the way, this person's going to come to you. Can you just go along with it? Like, they do give them the heads up. However, her knowing that song from that Spike Lee movie, like, I don't think that she was ready for that. I don't think that they were like fully counting on that interaction happening, and it was just ended up being a little funny bit. It was funny, but it felt so random and just so out of place, because the rest of the award show before that and after that was extremely like serious, how the Oscars like normally are, and there wasn't really any comedic relief, and that's what they put in there. And I just thought it was weird, y'all. I don't know. Everything just felt a little off. And those are that's how I felt about the whole production of the show. Now I want to get into the nominees and like where I think that this all went wrong. I just want to talk about the nominees, but also, okay, look, I thought that they were going to cut out some of the awards because of like time. That's what I read this year, that they were going to cut out some of them, and I believe that they did. However, there are still some categories that I just don't think that they should focus on primetime television. Like, I get it. Like, they're like, this is the Oscars. They're trying to like, talk about everything in regards to film and like real filmmaking. So like best sound or like sound mixing, like totally get that. But like, and like editing and cinematography, understand those. However, when we get to like best short documentary, I haven't heard of these, and I know most of them are foreign, which has nothing to do with that, but like best short okay, I guess, or like, I'm trying to see here. I guess best makeup and hairstyling. I guess I get it, best visual effects, I guess. But like this one, so best original screenplay versus best adapted screenplay, I understand what that means, which is like someone who physically wrote a brand new screenplay about a brand new idea, about a brand new story, narrative, whatever. Best adapted screenplay, meaning it was either a play or some type of story, like an essay or a poem or whatever, and they wrote a new screenplay based on that idea or the story or the play or the musical, whatever it may be. But like, do we really? Or like a book, like No Man Land is based on a book and somebody wrote an adapted screenplay based on that book. I don't know, like, can we just make it one category? I don't know. Is that dumb to say? I don't know. Or live action short film. I get like best documentary, so like I understand that, but I don't know. And I get the animated stuff because I think animated is really like underrated, and that it like animated pictures like can be, best picture, best motion picture. But I just feel like there are too many categories. Like, you have 3 hours of content, which in this day and age is a lot. Okay, it's a lot for people to have the attention span for 3 hours, especially with all of those stupid, crazy long commercials in between. What I always do, I always record it and then wait either 30 minutes to an hour from when it starts. So if it starts at 5, I will start watching either at 5:30 or 6 o'clock and just fast forward through all the commercials. And then by the time it's like 8 p.m., 7:30, I'm all caught up and I don't have to watch any of that stupid stuff. So like, come on, you have 3 hours of my time and you're wasting it on best live action short film. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense to me as a viewer who actually enjoys these type of award shows. But going back to nominees and like who won and everything, honestly, I was happy about some things, so let me talk about that first. Best costume design, I feel like went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Good with that. Same thing with best makeup and hairstyling. Best cinematography, I knew Mank was gonna win. His name, unfortunately, I cannot pronounce, but yes, agree with that. I'm so happy that Emerald Fennell, I believe her name is, won Best Screenplay for Promising Young Woman. When they said her name and then showed her and then said that she was in The Crown and that she had to leave there to then go film her own movie, I was like, oh my god, it just clicked to me. I didn't realize she plays the prince's, now wife, but in The Crown, his love affair person, and I completely didn't recognize her. So not only is she a writer and an amazing one, she's also an actress in very successful TV shows. Best original score and best animated film both went to Soul. Really happy about that. Best documentary feature, My Octopus Teacher. I actually watched this literally 2 days ago. It's on Netflix. It was a Netflix original film. I had heard a lot about it. Honestly, what ended up getting me to watch it is I was on my stories on Instagram and I saw that Vanessa Hudgens was watching it, and the next story that she put, she was crying and she was like, this is so good, blah blah blah, and I'm like, a documentary about an octopus is making you cry? What are you talking about? Which I now understand. I didn't cry, but I get it. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you guys watch it. It is a story about life, which I know sounds super cliche, but anybody who has seen it knows what I'm talking about. It's about the purpose of life, of why are we here? And it's this man who, I know it sounds really dumb right now, but it's this man who facilitates and creates and nurtures this relationship with an octopus. And obviously the story is much more than that, but he ends up, revisiting this octopus every day for over a year. And the connection he makes with this octopus and, just the reasoning behind everything and what happens during these 365 days that he visits it is just, in the beginning of the story, I don't want to give a lot away if you haven't seen it, because I highly recommend that you do. It's just a really good story that I think I needed to hear at the time, or right now, I guess, because he's in a place where he had to have a transition in his life. And so it was just a really heartwarming, good feeling documentary to watch. There's a climax, there's a narrative, and there's definitely a positive outcome that comes out of it. So highly recommend you watch it. However, the people who accepted the award on this behalf, I guess they're the writers and creators, you don't see them obviously throughout this entire film, but them, for instance, they went on for 10 minutes, and I was really? On best documentary, they're gonna let them talk for 10 minutes, really? And I loved the film. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was well deserved that they won. However, I still did not want to hear them talk for 10 minutes. Mostly because I had no idea who they are or who they were. And also just they kind of just kept thanking the same people. I don't know. It was annoying, guys. I'm sorry. Best supporting actor, again, Daniel Kahlua. I believe that's how you say his last name. Well-deserved, Judas and the Black Messiah. Best director, they gave it to Chloe Zhao. I kept hearing it, everybody was saying it differently, so I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I thought it was pronounced Zhao, but I think it's pronounced with more of a Chloe Zhao. I'm sorry if I am offending anyone or saying it incorrectly, but yeah, she won for Nomadland for best director. She won for editing. And I was surprised about that. Best original song, which I thought was interesting, went to Her, H-E-R, the artist, Her, and the song title was called Fight for You. I just thought it was interesting because Her won best song of the year for the Grammys, and she won Best Song or Best Original Song of the Year for the Oscars. So I thought that was really cool. Like, in what world have we seen that happen in the same year? I don't think it's ever happened. If anything, it was like once or twice in history, and I think that's something she should be really proud of. I've followed her from the beginning. I'm not the biggest fan, but I remember seeing her on Ellen, like, as a child, as this like music prodigy where she could play the drums, piano, guitar, all of it all at the same time, and then of course she can sing. And I think she's truly like a really good songwriter, and obviously going to stay in the industry for a really long time. But I just think that was really, really cool that she got both of them. And then we go on to Best Picture, Best Actress, and Best Actor. So Best Actor went to, Best Actress went to Frances McDormand, which they kind of make a joke. I guess she goes by Fran in her personal life, and in the movie, her character's name is Fern, so Fern and Fran, whatever. She wins Best Actress. It's one of the last awards of the night. It's the second to last award, and she gets up there, and it's just a little weird, guys. Not to mention, I don't think that she is deserving of this award, as well as No Man Land. I was happy that they kind of gave it to Best Director, because it looked like there had to be a lot of research done in this movie, and there was a true passion behind it. However, do I think it should have won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Editing? Like, no. No. I get why it was a nominee, actually. I do. I do get why it was a nominee. You know, spoiler alert, which I'm going to put in the title anyways. I've seen it. I watched half of it, and I got really bored. Turned it off, and then continued watching the rest of the half, the next day. And yeah, I still didn't think it was that good. It's about a woman who basically loses everything that she has during the recession. I believe the year was 2011. She lived on this like plant with her husband, and when I mean plant, like I mean like a community, a land, where her and her husband both worked for this company, and they provided this space for them and everyone that worked at the company. And then one day they just, are out of business because of the recession, even though this place had been open for about 100 years or something like that. And then her husband got sick and passed away. And so not only did she lose her house and her livelihood, she also lost her partner. And she doesn't have kids. So she's forced to kind of just travel the country, I guess, looking for employment, looking for a place to stay. And she finds the nomads. And basically what these people are they, I don't know, I guess they just find each other in whatever stages you are in life. Most of them are a little bit on the older side, but there are some families in there with younger kids, and basically what they are just people who go about their lives and they live off the land, and they don't have property, I guess you can say, but they have vans and RVs and motorhomes and things like that, and they just live off of them. And it's a community of people that have just lived off of the earth. They mostly travel up and down the Midwest and then move to different places depending on the season. They're not going to stay in a really cold climate when it's the winter. So and it's just like a different way of life that there are people out there to this day still living. And along the way, she meets some people who teach her some new trades. And then at one point we realize that she has a sister with the house where she can stay. And she just tells her sister, like, hey, I'm not a person to just stay still. I need to be out. I need to be free. And I've learned how to live this way. She even finds a man at some point who ends up settling down and becomes a grandpa. And she's like, no, I don't really want this life. And she kind of just ends up living off of the land in her little white van. And that's the story. I don't know. Like, obviously there's some deeper meanings in there. Obviously, like, there are some stories and people that she meets along the way that give her like little bits of knowledge here and there. But Honestly, I don't get it, especially because I've seen most of the other nominated films. I still think The Trial of the Chicago 7 should have won a lot. I thought they were going to give it to Mank for some things, just because of the nostalgia of Citizen Kane and that era, if you saw Mank. And yeah, guys, I just don't get it. I think that they should have given it to Viola Davis for Best Actress. She was extremely good in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. She plays a completely different character that we've never seen before, and it was so interesting to see because obviously it's her face. You can see that it's Viola Davis, but like the costume, and that's what I mean. I understood that the costuming, the hair and makeup was so to the T done. Like she completely transformed into a different person. So again, I understand that, but I don't know, guys. I don't understand it. I know No Man Land is on Hulu, so if you have a Hulu subscription, you can watch it at your own discretion. I don't know, I got bored. Maybe it's because I don't get it. I'm not in that part in my life right now where I feel like I am in retirement or I'm lost or whatever, so maybe that's why. And most of the Academy is in that time in their life. Like I don't know what it is and why everyone really liked this film. I haven't heard anyone really talk about it other than the Oscars and the Golden Globes. Like, I don't know. I just didn't get it. And then for Best Actor, which I think was an upset for a lot of people, I think they thought they were going to give it to Chadwick Boseman. However, they gave it to Anthony Hopkins for The Father. And yeah, guys, like it's Anthony Hopkins. Like he was great. Like it was a great film. And I think a lot of people are wondering why they didn't give it to Chadwick. I saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He plays a very, very vital, important role in that film. And again, it's a play. It's normally a play that they adapted to a movie. And you could totally tell when you're watching the movie. It's a very like play vibe. And he plays a different character. He actually plays the villain in that movie. Ish. I don't know. There's a lot like going on in that movie. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of monologues in that movie with Chadwick. And yeah, he plays a completely different character than what we're like used to seeing in like 42 or in Black Panther. So it was a different character for him, and I think he did a really good job. And I thought, they were going to give it to him, but they gave it to Anthony Hopkins, and I know that was like the upset of the night, I think. But yeah, I'm just overall just kind of disappointed. I wish that it was a different movie. Honestly, I really do wish it was a different movie about different issues other than the recession that happened in America and how it affected people. Don't get me wrong. It affected me. It affected a lot of people, but I just didn't think it was a strong enough film to win all of these categories and then to win Best Picture. Chloe, for Best Director, like that part I understood because it was, like I said, like you had to have an immersive experience, and I think that she portrayed it very, very well. And in her directing, like you could clearly see it, and in the cinematography. But yeah, guys, I don't know. I'm just upset. And if you're feeling the same way, can you please let me know either down in the comments or on my socials, because I just don't get it. Can someone please explain to me, like, what the heck? I'm upset. Okay, so just a couple more things to talk about. So they gave Tyler Perry the Humanitarian Award for this year, along with another group, but really everyone's talking about Tyler Perry's speech. And honestly, I thought it was amazing. I thought he kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of the term refuse hate. He said, I refuse to hate you if you are black. I refuse to hate you if you're white. I refuse to hate you if you're Mexican. I refuse to hate you if you're a policeman. And he says different things like that. And I truly believe in this statement. I don't think you should really hate anyone just because of their demographics or physical appearance or whatever it may be, or their physical, their status in life at that point. We have a lot of prejudices and a lot of, mindsets and stereotypes that we were socially taught that need to be untaught. And honestly, we can't keep generalizing like people into a certain group just based on the color of their skin or their economic status or their gender or their sexuality. He did bring that up too. And I thought it was a really, really, really well put together speech. I think he's just a great public speaker. Every time he talks, I feel like he hits the nail on the head every single time. Everyone's talking about Zendaya and what she was wearing. I think she looked beautiful and yellow looked really good, but honestly, I feel like no matter what she wears, she looks really good. I think she has a really good team behind her as well as herself. Like, she knows what she's going to feel confident in. And then finally, of course, I have to talk about that speech for Best Supporting Actress by Yeon Jun-yoon, which I believe that's how you spell it, say it, even though she made fun of everybody. She said, "I forgive you for tonight," for missaying or misspelling or whatever her name, which again, if I'm not saying this right, I really do apologize. That is how I am interpreting it right now, but I may be wrong. I thought her speech was the best of the night. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was cute. I thought it was everything that we needed in an Oscar speech. Even though at one point it was like going somewhere else, but I think she was just trying to collect herself. But her lines that she said, like, she was the most relatable person of the entire night. I think it was so beautifully, just so organic. And everyone was super excited that she won, and I thought it was very well deserved. So happy that she won. She was predicted to win, and honestly, I'm just so happy because that was definitely one that I think was deserved. All right, y'all, that is pretty much all I have for this week's episode. Because I'm talking about something that's so relevant, I don't really want to go into what happened last week. However, next week I will. And then I also will, again, be talking about serial killers and, I don't want to like dramatize it or, make it seem like I am infatuated with these serial killers and like, I don't want to put it in a bad or I don't want to put it in a good light. However, I do want to talk about it because I know I'm not the only one who has this obsession and who enjoys these shows and enjoys these kinds of topics. So, thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode. Please make sure to like, subscribe, send a review or comment a review and comment, all of those things. I feel like I say this every week, but I always forget all of the things that we can do to be interactive, and for you to tell me if you liked the episode or not. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. And stay tuned for next week. And this was Honestly Hannah. Bye.